All right, call the meeting to order. I'll ask you to all rise for our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk Spencer, would you call the roll, please?
Pezza.
Here.
Gutenkopf.
Here.
Leader. Absent. Dunn.
Here.
Graham.
Here.
Polumsky.
Here.
York.
Here.
Kipskin. Absent. Healy.
Here.
Levin.
Here.
Kennedy.
Here.
Morley.
Here.
Wagner.
Here.
Mulliner.
Here.
12 present, 2 absent.
Thank you. We have a quorum this evening. I want to let the public know that we're starting about 25 minutes late, not because of any other reason, except we were involved in executive session on some important topics that required our attention, but we're ready to move forward now. So we'll move to agenda item number 3. We have a proclamation. Alderman Gutenkopf, would you like to make some introductory remarks on this?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Dan Murphy, a 2007 graduate of York High School, is currently serving in the Peace Corps in Madagascar, and he's been there since March of 2012. He's working on small business development. In May, his parents, Dana and Mike, will be visiting him, and the village of Ankazambu intends to honor their visit, and the mayor of Ankazambu is planning a special greeting for them. Okay. I thought it would be nice for the city of Elmhurst to extend to the mayor of Ankazambu, Madagascar, a proclamation of friendship and solidarity. And so the mayor has kindly agreed to do that, and I think we'd like to present something to Mr.
Murphy, if you'll meet me over here at the podium to my right. Well, we're very pleased for the good works that your son is doing in Madagascar, and we have this proclamation, which I understand will be brought over with you to meet with your son and present to the mayor of Ankazambu.
Yes, that's
that was pretty good. All right. So I'm not going to read the whole resolution, but now, therefore, I, Scott M. Levin, acting mayor of the city of Elmhurst, extend the hand of friendship to President Fakantani. All right. And Rabamero and the families of Ankazambu on behalf of the Elmhurst community, and do hereby proclaim Monday, April 1st, 2013 as Ankazambu Madagascar Day. And our best wishes to your son. Thank you.
Disney did that. She would point to read. Well.
And I think my pronunciations reflect the grades I received in college in foreign language, so we'll proceed from here. Item 4 on the agenda, receipt of written communications and petitions from the public. If anyone has such communications, please rise and deliver them to Clerk Spencer on my right.
That's fine, thank you.
Thank you. Item 5 on the agenda, public forum. Clerk Spencer, has anyone signed to speak this evening at public forum?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. We'll start with Jim Collins, 460 South Hampshire Avenue, I believe.
Mr. Collins, are you speaking in your official capacity tonight?
After you tell me which microphone to use.
That one's fine.
This one? I am actually come here this evening to represent the Elmhurst Community Unit District 205 School Board. And I also represent the 8,200 children that are in our schools presently, and the over 8,000 more that will attend our schools during the life of TIF 4. And on behalf of the school board and on behalf of those 16,000 children, I've come to say thank you. Thank you to the City Council. Thank you to the city staff for tonight. You're going to vote, and I'm going to presume an affirmative vote on the TIF 4 intergovernmental agreement. That agreement is truly a landmark in Elmhurst and a landmark in the state of Illinois. And tonight you prove that you understand better than any city council in the state of Illinois the role that public schools can have in the economic development of a city. By your affirmative vote this evening, you'll be making the future of our city brighter and the futures of 16,000 children brighter. And for that, I just want to say thank you again.
Thank you, President Collins.
Judy Fouchon, 320 North York.
Good evening, it's Judy Fusion, but that's okay. Nobody ever gets it right, but you're close. Okay, we're at 320 North York in Elmhurst. We also have Al's Hobby Shop on Addison Street in Elmhurst. 65 years. I turned in some more petition sheets tonight for the 4-story parking garage and the retail on the first floor. I heard there were some questions about non-Elmhurst people signing the signatures on the petitions. Of course there was. A lot of those were our customers. Isn't that what we're looking for with public parking, to bring customers into the downtown area? So I think they should have a say too what they would like to do. They certainly don't want to park on the 6th floor and have street parking taken away. I also want to mention too, as far as our customers at Al's Hobby Shop, you know, we've been there such a very, very long time. And I'm not sure about the other businesses in Elmhurst, but we only generate 8% of our sales from Elmhurst residents, which I find really unusual because I know that the Elmhurst Chamber of Commerce has gotten quite a bit of money, and I just know we never got to partake of that at all. Some people in Elmhurst don't even know that we've been there on Addison Street. We've been on First Street, we've been on Addison Street, so in the last 65 years, but no, most people don't even know we're there. From Elmhurst, I should say. So I just wanted to, you know, make sure that you knew that the signatures that were not from Elmhurst were customers of mine at our hobby shop and other businesses in town. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Diana Pagash, 566 West Gladys.
Diana Pagach, 566 West Gladys Avenue. The question has arisen about non-residents signing the petitions against the 6-story garage on Addison. After hearing that a 6-story garage would provide less parking than a 4-story garage, they willingly signed. These are petitions that I collected. The council members have always stated that they wish to attract outside consumers to the businesses of Elmhurst. The original intent of the parking garage was to provide parking for Elmhurst shoppers, whether residents or non-residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pagash.
Claude Pagash, 566 West Gladys.
My name is Claude Pagach, 566 West Gladys. In the past weeks, I've read and heard from those running for office. They all state that they would like to have transparency and open meeting with the public. The election is going to be over with shortly. And though you, ladies and gentlemen, sit around a round table, this is not Camelot. Merlin is not going to come in and solve the problems of the city. Those that are elected will. During the past 4 years, the people have paid a dear penalty for what this council has done. Taxes have gone up, fees have gone up, and all under the understanding that it costs money to run a city. Well, I'm here to inform you, it costs the residents of this town money to raise their children, feed them, clothe them. And unless this council changes its overall attitude of keeping the public deaf, dumb, and blind on every subject that comes up, I don't know who fears who. Do the council members fear the people that are going to vote them into office? To tell them the truth of what's taking place? Because I can tell you right now, the people of this town fear the council. Things happen, things are voted on, money spent, and they wonder if it's all being done for their betterment. I have doubts of that. So for those that are going to get voted in, remember, this is not Camelot. You will be not called lords and ladies. But remember the fact that the citizens who you asked for funding voted you in. Remember it after you're elected.
John Robeletti, 625 West Gladys.
John Robeletti, 625 West Gladys. I have one thing to ask about. How many more times do we have to raise the sewer taxes in this town? This is either the third or fourth time the city has done this. Why don't we have transparency when it comes up to taxes and put it in the paper before the next meeting, not the day of the meeting you get the paper, well, Monday we're going to vote on this. I don't think that's right. And as far as the garbage cans go, that poor recycling guy works twice as hard as he used to. And they also said they got 33-gallon cans that they can pick up with the guy that picks up the other ones. Why do we need those big cans? I hope when you reach 75, you can still wheel that thing out. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Robeletti.
And last we have Tamara Brenner, 137 North Caroline Avenue.
Tamara Brenner, 137 North Caroline. Warning, I am using math today. During the executive session meeting of September 10th, 2012, one alderman said, among other things regarding the proposed 65-foot Addison development project, if we can make it attractive, both financially but also physically, and not look out of place, I'm all for it. I'm wondering if the corollary is also true. That is, if it doesn't work either physically or financially, he'd be against it, right? The 45-foot garage with 450 parking spaces as originally proposed is already much larger than the Schiller and Adelaide decks. So it seems to me there ought to be some concern that the taller version, which would have over 600 parking spaces, may look physically out of place. Why don't we have some sort of three-dimensional rendering of what that building would look like in relation to the neighborhood? A request for that was initially made on the dais in December of 2010, and I mentioned it again at the Zoning Commission hearing on February 28th. Is there any chance anything will come of that when the public hearing continues next Thursday, April 11th? As far as the financials go, I think it's preposterous that the developer will pay only a fraction of the land purchase cost to buy back the retail premises as called for in the original redevelopment agreement of February 2009. In a real and honest partnership, both parties would share in proper proportion the full costs, in this case including at least construction costs plus land acquisition. Instead of paying around $400,000 for the retail premises, I calculate that the developer should be paying on the order of $1.65 million. In other words, the current RDA builds in a subsidy of $1.25 million for the developer. If the taller building is approved, it's ludicrous to base the buyback cost of the proposed office space on incremental additional construction cost alone, as was apparently proposed behind closed doors in September. Economies of scale should accrue to both parties, not be weighted heavily to one side. If total construction costs plus land acquisition are shared in proper proportion, I calculate that the deal under consideration includes a subsidy for the developer of at least $1.8 million if 2 floors of office are built, and $2.5 million if 3 floors of office are built. And that doesn't include the value of reserved parking, which the developer also wants. If you remember, Metra paid $2.5 million towards construction of the Larch Garage in exchange for a long-term lease of 125 parking spaces. And the city still collects $400 a year annual permit fee for those designated spots. Reserved parking has significant value and ought not be given away for free. And doing so would represent another multi-million-dollar subsidy to the developer. There's no way that property tax on office space and food and beverage tax on lunch purchases by office workers justifies these taxpayer-funded subsidies. Every homeowner in town pays property tax and all other manner of taxes and fees in order to live here. The city of Elmhurst does not subsidize the purchase of anybody's private home, as far as I know. Neither should the city subsidize the cost of putting up a private office building. I'm all in favor of responsible economic development, but using public dollars to build private buildings or private portions of buildings is not responsible. Responsible stewardship requires making sure that taxpayer dollars are spent for the public good and not for the benefit of private interests. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Brunner.
That concludes public forum as far as who signed in tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Is there anyone that wanted to speak that did not have an opportunity to sign in? I will close public forum. Next item on the agenda is announcements. Does anyone have an announcement? Clerk Spencer.
Okay, this is it, my final announcements on early voting. It's this week in City Hall up until Friday, April 5th from 9 to 4:30. And the consolidated election is next Tuesday, April 9th. If you don't know your polling place, contact DuPage County Election Commission 630-407-5600. Everyone get out and vote. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other announcements? All right, very good. Item 7, consent agenda. Are there any aldermen who wish to remove from the consent agenda any items this evening? All right, may I have a motion on the consent agenda? Alderman Morley, second by Alderman York. Clerk Spencer, if you call the roll.
Morley.
Aye.
York.
Aye.
Pipskin, absent. Healy.
Aye.
Levin.
Aye.
Kennedy.
Aye.
Wagner.
Aye.
Mulliner.
Aye.
Pezza.
Aye.
Gutenkopf.
Aye.
Leader. Absent. Dunn.
Aye.
Bram.
Aye.
Polumsky.
Aye.
12 ayes, 0 nays, 2 absent.
All right, the consent agenda passes. On to item 8, reports and recommendations of appointed elected officials. For my part, the only thing I wanted to call attention to is that the City Council has received in its packet a copy of the overview of the third quarter 2012-2013 financial report, and thank you, Director Gaston, for that. The city, and through the Finance Committee and through the staff, is quite conservative in how it does its budgeting, and the revenue projections for the fiscal year are anticipated to be about $2.25 million greater than budget at this time. The expenses, I believe, are slightly down. Taxes, revenues are up in a number of categories, so I think that's a good sign for the economy. If you haven't had a chance to look through it, I think it's a good news report. City Manager?
Just a reminder that we're still collecting the old recycle bins at 3 locations, Barron's Park, here at City Hall, and at York Commons. The garbage company has been out delivering the new recycling bins, and so we are seeing some of those come back. We'll continue to collect those for the next few weeks.
Thank you. All right, ordinances. I'm sorry, Alderman Bram?
Thank you. I would actually like to request a report. One of the residents spoke during public forum in regards to the sewer rates and the continuous increase, at least perceived by this resident in regards to the increases we've done here on the dais. I do know, according to the meeting minutes, it was a plan, and it was reported in some of the papers, for a report to come out of the Finance Committee on the proposed 9% increase. I had a couple of calls, actually one in person and one phone call, about the increase. I was hoping that someone from the committee could speak to where that's at, since obviously it's not on today's agenda, even though the meeting minutes from the previous finance meeting stated that it would be.
Well, the meeting, the topic was not just first brought up this evening. It was discussed extensively in the Finance Committee last week. It's been pulled back for further consideration. Did you want to comment on that tonight, Alderman York?
Yeah, I can, if you want to finish yours, or?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, we've been discussing the sewer rates probably for months versus weeks at this point in time. And we did reach a conclusion on Monday evening, and I had some thoughts that I wanted to share with Finance Director Gaston as I thought about the 9% rate increase, and not only the 9% rate increase that we okayed, but looking at the financial projections that required 9% to go on for quite a few years, and it just seemed overwhelming. So I had a couple ideas that I went in and discussed with Finance Director Gaston on either Tuesday morning or Wednesday morning, I can't recall, and she thought they were viable and worthy of committee discussion. At that point in time, she contacted the other committee members to see if they were in agreement to bring it back for reconsideration, and apparently they all were, and so it will be on our agenda again for this coming Monday evening.
If I may, I don't want to debate the issue up here because it's obviously in committee, and I don't want to dig in deep. I was just wondering on if the committee had a view on when it will be coming back to the full city council is all. Maybe I should have made that clear when I made my first statement.
I think the goal is to go around one more time and then bring it back.
Yeah, I would think after our committee meeting, we may or may not reach a decision then, but either it'll be on the next city council agenda or soon after that, because we need to get the rate set for implementation on May 1st in a perfect world. I think last year we missed that target maybe by 1-2 week period or something like that, but our goal is with the sewer rates, and it used to be the same with the water rates as well, was to get new rates in effect by the beginning of the fiscal year. With the rate increases that we've gotten from DuPage Water Commission, who've gotten them from somebody else, that conversation has been talked about for the first part of the year, because those are when rate increases go into effect from DuPage Water Commission. And we suspect that going forward, as our fiscal year is changing to a calendar year, that the sewer rates and the water rates will again be discussed concurrently at the beginning of each year.
And to clarify something that has been spoken about this evening, this is not a sewer tax, this is an enterprise fund. So essentially what we're doing is we're looking at the actual cost of operating this enterprise and then allocating it amongst the users as opposed to a tax. It's driven strictly by what it costs us to operate. But I would believe we're going to try to get that looked at again and brought back as soon as possible.
Thank you.
Right. Item 9, ordinances. Would you read the ordinance, please, Clerk Spencer?
An ordinance approving the 28th Amendment to the real estate purchase contract for the purchase of the real property commonly known as 260 North York Street, Elmhurst, Illinois. Paul, I.
Have a motion? Alderman Dunn? Second. Alderman Kennedy. And this is the item that was being spoken about at length in executive session. Discussion, any additional discussion? Alderman Pezza.
Thank you, Mayor. I still, and probably even more so, do not support the terms of this agreement nor the extension.
Thank you. Alderman Gudenkauf.
She said what I was going to say. I feel the same way.
All right. Any other discussion? All right. Clerk Spencer, if you'd call the roll.
Dunn.
Aye.
Kennedy.
Aye.
Morley.
Aye.
Wagner.
Aye.
Mulliner.
Aye.
Pezza.
No.
Gutenkauf.
No.
Leader, absent. Bram.
Aye.
Polumsky.
Aye.
York.
Aye.
Hipskin, absent. Healy.
No.
Levin.
Aye.
9 ayes, 3 nays, 2 absent.
All right. The ordinance ordinance passes. Item 10, resolutions. Clerk Spencer, would you read the resolve?
A resolution approving an intergovernmental agreement by and between School District Number 205 and the City of Elmhurst, DuPage, and Cook Counties, Illinois, North York Redevelopment Project Area.
All right. Alderman Mulliner. Alderman Morley with a second. Alderman Mulliner.
This has been a long time coming for this resolution, and I definitely want to thank the staff for all their work. And the final days, I also want to thank the mayor and school board member, John McDonough, for all their hard work on finalizing this to get the final agreement put together so that we have something that we can all agree to and move forward with. This is a landmark agreement that we have here, and thank you for all your hard work.
Alderman Bram.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, the IGA, the Intergovernmental Agreement, is a long time coming. I'm glad to see it before us. I'm conflicted while looking at this from the standpoint of I need to keep, first and foremost, my concerns of what the new TIF would produce or the potential it would have to produce for North York. Alderman Pezza and myself is the one who made this referral, what seems to be eons ago. I'm glad it is coming to fruition. The TIF has already been instituted a while back, but I'm glad to see that we are doing what is right, not what is legally obligated, but what is right, to be working with the other governmental bodies to see exactly how it can become a win-win situation. I do, though, however, would like to state some of my concerns with the IGA as stated. And that is from the standpoint of what I would view as a reduction of the potential for the TIF. I understand that the other governmental bodies have to be concerned with their issues, be it school district, be it park district, but I want to make sure we as a city get as much as possible from this TIF to redevelop North York, which I think is way past overdue. Mariano's is one piece to the puzzle, but I think that there's a lot more to be done. Looking over this IGA, and I just want to make sure all the residents are clear about this, there's many different pieces to it. One of the pieces states that the City of Elmhurst commits to District 205 the approximately $6 million in capital improvements for the 2 schools that are within the boundaries of the TIF, being Conrad, Fisher, and Churchville. On top of that, I think it's after year 10, if my eyes aren't deceiving me, a declaration of surplus from 90% to the city and 10% to, I want to say, to District 205, or maybe it's both bodies, governmental bodies, will go to the other governmental bodies. For District 205, that would mean an additional, approximately an additional $4.1 million. On top of that, as part of this IGA, is $1.5 million being declared from TIF 2. So we're talking, out of the potential from this new TIF, $73 million approximately that is to be generated from the TIF. We're talking about a 15% of that going to District 205. I think that's a good thing overall for District 205. My only thing I want to state today is that I have a concern that that's pretty substantial. 15% of a new TIF going to another governmental body is a substantial amount of monies. I think the piece of the capital improvements is warranted and is something that is beneficial to the school district as well as the city. I'm concerned that when you total it all up, we're talking about over $10 million being removed, or approximately $10 million being removed from this brand new TIF. Now, obviously, it's not going to all occur at once. It's going to happen midway through approximately year 11. I am going to support the IGA tonight, but I want to make the residents known that by doing so, I want to send the message that I am concerned over this. I will be looking at this as long as my tenure here in the dais, because I want to make sure that this TIF does exactly what it's supposed to do, first and foremost, and that is to redevelop the north side of town. So I encourage everybody to support it, but I wanted to highlight the fact that this is significant dollars, over 10%, closer to 15%, being removed from this brand new TIF that could be going into development projects that we're not aware of today. I also, as Alderman Mulliner said, want to give kudos to everybody who's worked on it. It's a long time coming, so I'm excited to move forward. I can't wait to see other developments happen in this new TIF. So this is I think, the final piece of that puzzle. So thank you.
Alderman Morley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Last August, this committee recommended the creation of this development district, and we urged the support of the City Council. And one of the things that we also committed or asked the Council to consider was our commitment to an intergovernmental agreement with not only District 205, but the other taxing bodies. There was a need to get this development district in place, and we said that we would pursue vigorously an intergovernmental agreement. And that's what's happening. We kept our promise, and I urge everyone to support this. In essence, the numbers really haven't changed since last August, but President Jim Collins actually alluded to it. This is the most progressive revenue sharing agreement in the state of Illinois. And that is what took so long to get this down on paper and to get everybody to agree to it. So I would ask everyone to support it. I think it's a good thing not only for the city, but also for our fellow taxing bodies, and it shows our fellow taxing bodies that we do care about them. The last thing I'll say is I do want to thank city staff, specifically Jim Grabowski. I would like to thank Dave Pernot for his hard work, and then the two other members on the school board that I work with the most, which would be President Jim Collins and Chris Bloom. So I hope everyone will support this. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Pezza.
Thank you, Mayor. I would just like to add first a thank you to the whole council, because I think though it was our referral, I'm very excited that we all worked together and agreed and voted it in. At the end of the day, I believe it is a win-win situation. You know, we look to a TIF as an economic engine, and I think part of that engine is our schools, because if this can also enhance our schools and do well on behalf of the schools and the children, what better way to keep people attracted to our town, which then enhances the property values, and in turn, that draws business. So I think it all works together, and each of it is a piece of the pie that keeps Elmhurst a unique, attractive community. So I'm very excited about all the potential progress that I hope to see in the coming years with the implementation of this TIF. So thank you to everyone.
Alderman Dunn?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I had some reservations with some of the elements of the agreement initially. The $1.5 million to be taken out almost right off the bat from the TIF number 2 up on Lake Street, which has been a TIF that's made some progress but still has a ways to go. And then also in the agreement, there's 35% of the surplus after the Han Street development is completed, which is a healthy amount. And then moving further down the timeline, $6 million maximum in capital expense for Churchville and Conrad Fisher. And then even further down the timeline, after 10 years, a minimum of 10% surplus to the other taxing bodies. So it's pretty healthy agreement, pretty generous. But I think it's absolutely the right agreement to get some cash flow into the school, into the other taxing bodies initially, in the midterm and the long term. You can't hamper the development by taking a large amount out initially, and I think the city staff, the elected officials that were quite involved in the school district, did an outstanding job of carving out an agreement that's going to work in the near term and the long term to keep both entities very healthy. So I thank you for that, and I'm completely supportive of this agreement. Thanks.
Alderman Bram?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I forgot to touch on one item. In the IGA, it does talk, item number 5, it talks about porting, but porting in one direction. And what I mean by that is porting any funds in the current TIF, the downtown TIF, to any other TIF, including this new TIF, TIF 4. Has any discussion been in regards to the other direction? And if so, why isn't it stipulated in this document of porting from TIF 4 in any other direction, going the opposite way from TIF 4 to the downtown TIF, for example?
This is a term that was requested by the school district to make sure that it wouldn't happen any further. It doesn't constrain or allow anything other than what the city council might do in the future with respect to other districts. This is a contractual arrangement between the city and the school district.
Understood. My question, though, was in regards to, was there conversation of porting in the opposite direction from TIF 4 to TIF 1 or any other TIF?
City Manager?
Thank you. There was not discussion about that. The discussion was primarily from TIF 1 to TIF 4 and the school district's interest in protecting the 2004 agreement. There's a surplus that's to be paid from in the terms of the 2004 agreement. They wanted to make sure that we did not port. They wanted to prohibit any porting from TIF 1 to TIF 4 so that the surplus would be larger.
So due to that fact that it's not in this IGA, we're not bound by the IGA to do a port in the opposite direction, nor legally. Is that a correct statement?
The way I read it, correct.
Thank you.
Alderman Healy?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm very proud to support this agreement. I think we all recognize that every government has their challenges, every government entity has their challenges, but I think specific to the government entities in Elmhurst, none have more challenges either now or into the future, short or long-term future, than District 205. They are going to be impacted in some fashion by decisions made in Springfield. So I think the more that we work together intergovernmentally to help them and do everything we can for the school district, I think that's a good thing for the city. Not that just the taxpayers of the city of Elmhurst, but the residents of Elmhurst. So I'm proud to support this agreement. But I also think it's important that we take a look back and recognize that while this agreement is a one-of-a-kind, it is new, it is a good thing. It's not the first time the city of Elmhurst has stepped up to help District 205. This previous mayors, namely Marcucci, and previous city councils have a long history of managing TIFs proactively, progressively, and using the economic development tool that is a TIF district for the well-being of the schools, whether it's releasing properties, declaring surpluses, et cetera. I think it's important that we recognize that while I'm very proud of the action I think we're going to take tonight, I'd also like to recognize past actions of the mayors and city councils. I just look at this as another in a fairly long line of intergovernmental agreements and cooperation between the two very important entities here in Elmhurst. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman York.
Thank you, Your Honor. There's been a lot of accolades here, and I'd just like to not hit on a ton of them and repeat them, but I would like to thank city staff. I know Marilyn and Tom, in addition to City Manager Grabowski and Acting Mayor Levin and Alderman Morley, have done a tremendous amount of work on this agreement, and I'm proud to support it. I have a child who's going to be in D205 until 2023. So counting out, that's about 11 years or something like that. So we'll be about halfway through it when I have my last kid out of here. So I'm really looking forward to the great results. One thing I'd like to point out is that everything we're talking about is based on success of the TIF. There's, if we don't for some reason, and we're not saying that we're not going to be successful, but if something doesn't work out exactly the right way, all this money isn't going there because the money isn't generated through increment. So I think everybody needs to keep that in mind as well, that we're not just handing over all these dollars to District 205 regardless of what happens in the TIF. It's got to be successful for everybody to win. That's what makes it a win-win. So just wanted to point that out. As I've mentioned several times before, if this is done right, and I have every reason to believe it will be, we'll see significant increases in the EAVs in the neighborhoods surrounding this development district. And this is going to be an absolute win for the school district too, because it's likely that that increase would not have happened had it not been for the development district. So not only does the win start with this development district, but it moves out into the neighborhoods and creates even a better situation for everybody. So that's really all that I wanted to add it, but what a great job by everybody, and I'm very proud to support this. Thank you.
All right, anyone else? All right. Well, I guess if I can give my own personal thanks, I know that City Manager Grabowski put in some extra work on it, and when the negotiations got a little bit tentative there at the end, he came up with some creative ideas that helped push us through. A lot of people did work on it. I'm proud of this too, and will of course support it. And with that, I will ask Clerk Spencer to call the roll.
Mulliner.
Aye.
Morley.
Aye.
Wagner.
Aye.
Pezza.
Aye.
Gutenkopf.
Aye.
Leader, absent. Dunn.
Aye.
Graham.
Aye.
Polumsky.
Aye.
York.
Aye.
Hipskin, absent. Healy.
Aye.
Levin.
Aye.
Kennedy.
Aye.
12 ayes, 0 nays, 2 absent.
All right, the resolution passes. Thank you. Item 11, other business. Any other business to bring before the council? Alderman Morley?
No.
All right. If that is the case, I'll take a motion for adjournment. Alderman Morley, second by Alderman Wagner. All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.